Welcome, welcome, welcome. Week 2 was fun, huh? Let's get into it.
Oh, he has trouble with the snap, and the ball is free. It's picked up by Michigan State's Jalen Watts Jackson, and he scores on the last play of the game. Unbelievable.
35, 40, 45, 50, 45. There goes Davis. Oh, my God. Davis is going to run it all the way back. Auburn's going to win the football game. Auburn's going to win the football game. He ran the missed field goal.
Week 2 was a fun one, guys. Get in here, watch this video. We have a lot to talk about. A lot happened in week 2. I think we learned a lot about pretty much every top 25 football team. If you see to my left here, we have fumbles, first downs, what if poll, muffins. Okay, if you're new here, fumbles, where I went wrong in the preview for week 2. First downs, where I was right. Side note, I'm right a lot. The what if poll, that's my top 25 rankings, the correct one. And then muffins. Each week, we certify someone as a stud muffin, and it's a prestigious honor. Last week went to Cam Ward. This week it's going to someone very prestigious. They deserve it, and they get all the credit in the world. So that's what the muffins is. But we'll start with the fumbles. We learned a lot about a lot of college football teams this weekend. Okay, first one up. First one up where we learned a lot right here. Notre Dame, Fighting Irish. Okay, I could take this 55 different directions, but I'm going to go in one particular direction. Okay, Northern Illinois. You get all the credit in the world. Okay. You played a phenomenal football game. Okay. You played your football game. You said, hey, when we get that football, we're not going to play fast. We're going to hold that ball for as long as we possibly can. They were snapping it with 1 second left on the play clock the entire game. Okay. Now that is the strategy to beat a top five football team, especially when the top five football team has an offense that hasn't thrown a touchdown pass. Okay. Riley Leonard, look, was I one of the people that was hyping Riley Leonard up all offseason? Look, that's why this is in the fumbles. Okay, I was wrong about Riley Leonard. I thought he was better. I thought he was better. Okay, and I'll admit it. And I have no shame in admitting that he's not. He's not that good. Okay, and quite frankly, the fact that Notre Dame, a perennial powerhouse in quotation marks. I'm starting to come around on Notre Dame. I'm starting to think they stink. Well, they do stink. And that's what we learned about them yesterday. They are not a very good football team. Sure, the defense can play football. The offensive line has a whole bunch of holes in it, holes left and right, not where you want the holes to be for running game. It's holes right where the offensive linemen are. That I mean, that's their weakness on the offensive line. Pretty much left tackle, left guard, center, right guard, right tackle, and anybody else they try to block anybody with. Because Northern Illinois was in the backfield on every single passing play in about a half a second. Okay, it was astounding to watch. You know why it was astounding to watch? Because Notre Dame last weekend they went into Kyle Field down there where Texas A&M plays, home of the 12th man. Home of the 12th man now no longer exists thanks to this show. If you listened last week, we got rid of the 12th man. They don't deserve it anymore. We'll give it to somebody else here later in the season, maybe. But it doesn't belong at Kyle Field anymore, okay? But Notre Dame went in there and they kicked Texas A&M around. They showed them who was boss. Now, you would think, and they were in the fumble section last week, Notre Dame. Well, I was wrong about them again. I guess I can never nail Notre Dame correctly, so I'll probably be wrong about them next week. I won't, though, because I think we learned exactly who Notre Dame is, and they're not a very good football team. Riley Leonard, he can't throw. He couldn't hit the side of a barn, okay? You put the side of a barn 4 feet in front of him, he's missing it, okay? Maybe not even coming close. Okay, that's how bad he is throwing the football right now. The offensive line, everything coming into the year was correct about them. I'm not sure how they blocked anybody against Texas A&M last weekend because yesterday it was one of the worst performances I've ever seen. Northern Illinois, really? Look, no shame to Northern Illinois. Nothing wrong about them. This was their first ever. Listen to this. Their first ever nationally broadcast television football game ever. You know how many nationally broadcast football games there are each year? A whole bunch. I don't know the number. There's a whole bunch. Northern Illinois has never played in one, and they go into South Bend, into Notre Dame's house, and kick their tail for 60 minutes. You, what are we doing, Notre Dame? Fighting Irish? You just got stepped on by the Huskies. Nobody even knew who this football team was coming in. 28.5 point spread. And you couldn't even score 14 points. You couldn't even score 14 points. We know exactly who Notre Dame is. They've got some good guys on the back end of the secondary, although they stunk it up yesterday. They don't have an offensive line. Their quarterback's no good. Jeremiah Love, probably their best player. He's pretty good. But he couldn't even do anything because the offensive line was letting a whole buku of Northern Illinois players through. Okay. Look, I was wrong about Notre Dame. I don't think anybody is ever going to pick Notre Dame to do anything. I know I'm going to pick them to lose every single game going forward if they play like they did yesterday, which they won't. College football teams adjust and they look like garbage week in and week out sometimes. That's the thing about college football. But Notre Dame, we know exactly who they are. Fraud. Okay. They're a fraud. They're not national title contenders. They had me fooled. They had a whole bunch of people fooled. Um, and I'm sorry to admit, I look, I'm just like a college football fan, just like you are of your team. You ebb and flow. The world is on fire. The team is on fire. Burn it all down. We're the greatest team in the world. That's how I am with college football. I go week by week, just like you guys with your own teams. And I ride high on the emotions of what I saw yesterday. I'm not taking it a 2 week sample size. I'm going based on what we saw in week two. That's who these football teams are. That's what these football teams are. And that's how I take it. In Notre Dame, you're a fraud. Okay. The next team in the fumble section, they were in the fumble section again last week. Penn State, Nittany Lions. Look, I said, week two preview, hey, it looked like Drew Alar, Andy Kotelnicki, they figured some things out offensively in the offseason, in fall camp, in week one against West Virginia. They look like a different team offensively, okay? And defensively, they were the team they thought they were. Okay. They were solid up front, solid in the linebackers, solid on the back end. Okay. Solid football team all around. Penn State, hey, you're back. Okay. I think you're actually a pretty solid football team. You got a chance this year. That's what I said going into this week against Bowling Green, ladies and gentlemen. They were playing Bowling Green. Spread minus 34.5. Penn State won by 7. Okay. Where should I start here? James Franklin. Maybe I start with you. Maybe I start with you. What are you? I know in that locker room, he's treating it like every game's the same. But I know those players somehow aren't, they're not getting that in their mind, okay? They're not thinking to themselves, we just beat West Virginia. Okay, Bowling Green, the same team as West Virginia. No chance. You know how I know that? Because I watched this game yesterday. First drive of the game, Bowling Green, right up the field. Right up the field, scored 7-0, first quarter. I sent out a tweet. I said, Bowling Green just marched up the field against Penn State. What is going on? You know what they did? Couple drives later, boom, right up the field, 14-0. I looked around and I thought, what am I watching with my eyes? Am I dreaming? That's what I thought. I seriously thought, am I dreaming? What is going on right now? Bowling Green is taking it to Penn State. Are you serious? And we were. It was a real football game. It happened. Okay. Now I know what you're going to say, Ian. What do you expect from Penn State? What do you expect? Well, I expected a heck of a lot different than what we saw yesterday. I thought they were a much better football team, and they're not. They're not. Drew Alar, look, you got to get rid of the football when 5, 6 guys are chasing you around in a circle. Okay, you got to throw it away. He took 15 sacks yesterday, exaggerated number, and he lost about 150 yards. Okay, he was just running in a circle backwards in that football game. The way I'm talking about Penn State, you might think they lost. No, they won the football game, but it felt like a loss. Okay, I know those fans up there are furious. They're furious, and I would be too if I was a Penn State fan. How can you let this happen in your own stadium against Bowling Green? Look, no offense to Bowling Green, no offense to Bowling Green, except all offense. They're not a very good football team. That's why the spread was 34.5 at kickoff. Okay, I'm upset. You know what else got me a little upset about this game here? Penn State tweeted out, this is their official football Twitter. They tweeted out a picture of their stadium. They said 100,000 strong. I'm watching this football game. It's half filled. This stadium is half filled. You got to show up if you're a Penn State fan. Okay, this is the best team you've had in years. You got to show up. All my hopes not lost in Penn State. However, they're also frauds. Okay, what I saw yesterday, that's not a team that can win a national title. Frauds. Okay, Penn State frauds, Notre Dame frauds. pretty much everyone else in the college football world frauds, not winning a national title. Penn State, I was wrong about them again. And I'm back to how I felt about them in the beginning of the year. They're an okay football team, not elite, not elite, not a national title contender. Let's move on. But first, yeah, that's a nice looking mug. I know you were all thinking it. I'm going to take a sip. Spring water. No big deal. Okay. First downs, where I was right. Now, I could go 150 different directions because there was a lot I called in this week too. Okay, we're going to start with Texas, Michigan. Supposedly the biggest game of the weekend. It ended up to be a snooze fest because Michigan sucks. They are one of the worst football teams in the country. AP Top 25 came out about an hour ago. They're still in the top 25. They need to be kicked out of the top 100. Okay, that offense might be one of the worst things I have ever seen with my own two eyes. And trust me, I've seen a lot. Okay, look, I got to give you credit. You took it to Michigan. You took it to them, and you did what I said you would do. They ran up and down that field on them offensively. The defense killed Michigan's offense. I said the only chance Michigan had in this football game is to win with multiple defensive scores. And you know what the defense did? They just let Texas score the entire game. Texas had their way with them. Steve Sarkisian, he was dialed. He was dialed in these play calls. Whatever he wanted to do, he did. He did. Okay. Texas won this game 33-6, 12, whatever it was. Michigan scored a late touchdown. It was not close. And I was right about Texas. I was right about Michigan. Let's move right along. Next team I was right about Clemson. Okay. A lot of people were down on Clemson. They said App State 17 and a half. Y'all take App State plus 17 and a half. I said, no, 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 no. No, 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 no. Clemson, Kate Klubnik, Dabo Sweeney, Maffa, they're all going to come back in this game offensively with a vengeance. They're playing at home. Side note, they're a much better football team at home, like most teams. Um, and you know, the first drive of the game, 3rd and 10, boom, 75-yard bomb to Bryant Wesco Jr., true freshman, 5-star, elite wide receiver. They were up 35-0 at the end of the first quarter. They ended up winning 150-12. Okay, so I was right about Clemson. I knew this was going to happen this week. I called it. They did exactly what I said they would do. They would bounce back. They're not as horrible a football team as Georgia made them look. Georgia is just that good. I think we have that good of a Georgia football team this year. Okay. So it was not shocking that Clemson covered this 16 and a half. I was not shocked. You shouldn't have been shocked if you listened to this show. Credit to Kate Klubnik and Dabo Sweeney, though. That offense was humming. I know it's App State, but App State's not some slouchy football team. I can tell you this much. I can tell you this much. If Clemson was playing Northern Illinois, the spread would have been a lot more. Okay. And you know who just lost to Northern Illinois? Notre Dame. Notre Dame. Okay. So moving right along. Next team that we nailed this week. And these don't take too long because I was right about them. You saw the game. I was right about them. Tennessee. Okay. Look, I can't really say much about Tennessee here because they absolutely slaughtered NC State. I mean, it was not close. 51-10. You know what the spread in this game was when it kicked off? I believe it was Tennessee plus 10. Tennessee minus 10, excuse me. Um, if you heard what they won by 41. NC State didn't score offensively. It was a pick six. How they got to 10 points. Okay. Nico, not even going to try to pronounce your last name. He had 2 interceptions. However, he looks phenomenal. He looks like a gazelle back there in the backfield. He is dicing up defenses. I know he had the pick six. However, he was running all over that defense. He looks incredible. Dare I say, he could win the Heisman. And look, I wasn't a Nico believer, one, because I had never seen this guy play football. Okay. You know, you see the highlight tapes of him throwing the football around there, but this guy is legit as they come. Okay. He's tall. He's got a cool name. He looks cool in that Tennessee uniform. I mean, he is incredible. Okay. In Tennessee, they're incredible. Josh Heupel is phenomenal. That offense is humming and humming quickly. Now, I know that NC State offense isn't anything to write home about, obviously, but the Tennessee defense looks much improved, much improved. There were a lot of question marks on that back end of that Tennessee defense. Nah, nah, don't need to be worried about it. I'm not worried about it. Tennessee, you have one incredible football team on your hands. Congratulations, Volunteers. You are awesome. You are awesome. And you thought who I thought you were who I thought he was. Okay. That didn't make any sense, but it doesn't matter. Next team up in the first downs, Boise State. This could also be Boise State / Oregon. We knew this was going to happen. Look, the spread was 21 and a half at kickoff for Boise State, plus 21 and a half. We jumped all over that. 21. Are you kidding? Did you see Oregon last week? They couldn't block anybody offensively. They couldn't block anyone defensively. Excuse me. Defensive line was getting manhandled against Idaho. Now, Idaho's not that bad of a football team. But if you're getting manhandled against Idaho and Boise State just rushed for 500 yards the week before, I don't think that's going to fare very well for you if you're an Oregon Duck. Okay. And you know what happened? It didn't fare very well for you if you were an Oregon Duck. Ashton Jaunty, however you say his last name, he ran all over Oregon last night, and he looks like a baby Saquon Barkley. Okay, that's what he reminds me of. His running style, the way he moves, the way he's built, that looks like baby Saquon Barkley. And let's rewind to Saquon Barkley. He was a really good football player, so that's who he reminds me of. And he ran all over Oregon. He did what we said he was going to do, run all over Oregon, because they're not a tough football team in the trenches right now. I know they have some injuries. So does every other football team, okay? You got to get together if you're an Oregon Duck, okay? Dan Lanning, what are you doing, man? You were my national title pick, okay? And I want to jump ship now. I want to jump ship now. You know who was frauds? Okay, Oregon Ducks, frauds, okay? It's pitiful what they're doing over there. I don't. Eugene, the town needs to riot. The product on the field right now is not good. It is not good, and they need to riot. They need to riot. Hands down, there needs to be a riot in Eugene, Oregon about the product on the football field right now. Now, Boise State, you're going to be a pretty good football team. You have the best running back in college football. Congratulations. We were right about it. Let's move right along to the what if poll. Going to take another sip here. The what if poll this week, just a heads up here. This is the most movement in a what if poll we have ever had in the history of this college football show. I mean, there are teams jumping 15 spots. There are teams dropping 15 spots. There are teams dropping out of the top 25 that have never been out of the top 25. So this is going to be a fun what if poll. I'm not sure how long this what if poll is going to take because, quite frankly, I don't have much to say about some of these teams because they stink. Okay, they stink, and they're in the top 25. It's ridiculous. Okay, I'm going to take a sip, then we'll move on to the what if poll. It's a good looking mug. Okay. What is up next? What if poll? Here we go. All right. Number 25 team in the country. Some of you may be shocked. Oklahoma State. Okay. Quick thing about Oklahoma State. They got outgained 1,000,000 to 500,000. Okay. It was actually like 640 to 340. So Arkansas doubled the yardage against Oklahoma State, and somehow Oklahoma State won this game by 8. They covered. Yay us, because we had Oklahoma State minus 7.5. They somehow covered in this football game. Look, Oklahoma State's not that good. They're 2-0. But why they're still in the top 25? I would have easily dropped them because they don't deserve this. But they did show some fight. They did show some resilience in that second half. I'm not sure how much was them fighting or Arkansas just fumbling the game in their direction, which they did multiple times. So that they're going to slot right here into number 25. They were 15 or 16, whatever, last week. They don't deserve that anymore. So the what if polls, what if what we see in yesterday's games is what these teams actually are? What if poll. And right now, Oklahoma State, they shouldn't be any higher than 25 in the country. Okay. Next one up. I know some of you just threw your phone across the room. You see Oregon at number 24 in the country. Okay. In the AP poll, which is incorrect 100% of the time. Oregon is number 9 or whatever. Guys, they do not deserve to be number 9. I think number 24 is right where they need to be. Okay, this will motivate them. Oregon's not a top 10 team in the country. They're barely a top 25 team in the country based on what we've seen from them. Okay, right in front of the Oregon Ducks, Kansas State. Look, I think Tulane's a very good football team. I think Kansas State kind of got away with it here at the end, but I think right now, Kansas State, this is where they need to be. They're a very good football team as well. Avery Johnson, he needs to clean up some of the short throws. I mean, he was throwing behind his running backs in these little flat routes 100 times yesterday. It was kind of hard to watch. Still love his hair. Kansas State, they're 23 in the country. Number 22 in the country, Clemson Tigers. I think they're up 2 from where they were last week. Look, the defense is legit. The offense at home is incredible. Now, what you're saying is, Ian, don't they have to play road games? Yes, they do. However, some of the road games they play, they're going to Florida State, guys. Okay, well, we know we know what Florida State is this year. They stink. They stink. And you know why they stink? Well, they're 0-2, ladies and gentlemen. It's not a good product from Florida State, and Clemson has to go. That's not a daunting place to play anymore. So Clemson, I like them. I like them. I almost moved them up a little more than 22 in the country, but I didn't. I held back. I held back. But 22 is right where the Clemson Tigers slate, right in front of them. We have the Penn State Nittany Lions, and you're thinking to yourself, Ian, what are you doing? This might be the worst top 25 I have ever seen. And if you are saying that, you don't understand what this top 25 is. Okay, what if what we saw yesterday in week 2 is what these teams really are? That's where they rank. That's where they deserve to be. Okay. If what we saw from Penn State yesterday is what this team really is, then that's where they need to be. They need to be number 21 in the country. No big deal. Nothing, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Okay. They're the number 21 team in the country. Let's move right along. All right. Number 20 team in the country. Boom. There's nobody that deserves to be number 20 in the country. Number 19, same. In fact, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20, there are no teams that deserve to be in this region of the top 25. I haven't seen it from any team, especially yesterday. From what we saw from some of these football teams, they don't even deserve to be here. Okay, moving right along. Number 15 team in the country. We do have one of these. It's the Utah Utes. Now, you're saying, Ian, didn't they beat like Baylor? They did. And Cam Rising was hurt. He got hurt right before the half. And if he was in that football game, I don't think it's a serious injury or anything. I think they knew they were going to beat Baylor. No big deal. They would have won this game 40-10 if Cam Rising was still in this football game. However, he was not. So I'm going to keep him at 15. If not, they would probably crack the top 10. Okay. I think they're that good defensively and offensively with Cam Rising. Without him, they're in trouble. But I don't think he's going to miss any amount of time. I think it was just a precautionary thing for the Utah Utes. Okay. Right in front of the Utes at number 14 in the country, we have nobody. Number 13, nobody. Number 12, nobody. Number 11, nobody. You know why? Because all the football I watched yesterday, which I watched a lot, pretty much all of it, there's not an 11th ranked team in the country. There's not. And I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it. Okay. Didn't see it yesterday. That means today there's no 11th team in the country. Now, next week, week 3, if we see a team, maybe it's Utah, maybe it's Oklahoma State, whoever it might be, if I watch them play football and I say, that right there is the 11th ranked team in the college football world, then they're going to be 11th in the what if poll. But right now, there's nobody. There's nobody. We'll move to the top 10. Okay. Now, this is where we get into some football teams. Number 10, nobody. There's only 9 teams in the top 10. That's it. There's only 9 teams in the top 10. And number 9, we have the Missouri Tigers. Look, nobody's watched Missouri yet this week, okay, this year. But yesterday, they did what they were supposed to do against the Buffalo Bulls, okay? They whooped them. They covered. They did what they were supposed to do. 9th ranked team in the country. I can't fault you for that because there are teams, Penn State, Oregon, that are not doing what they're supposed to do. So they get dropped. Missouri stays where they are. Number 9 team in the country. Number 8 team in the country. I have the USC Trojans. I think they're a transformed football team. Now, they played Utah State. However, let me Utah State didn't score. Utah State did not score. USC won 48-0. 48-0. This could have gone in where I was wrong. I thought surely after the high they were on last week against LSU, they would falter and they would come back to the means a little bit. They didn't. They didn't. USC, 8th ranked team in the country. Number 7, we have the Miami Hurricanes. Okay. They're just a solid football team. They have the certified stud muffin and Cam Ward. Really, really good football team. Right in front of them, we have the Ole Miss Rebels. Continue to just obliterate teams that aren't very good. Here we go. Here we go. Top 5 teams in the country. These are the 5 best teams in the country. No doubt in my mind. Tennessee Volunteers at number 5. Nico is special. The defense is getting it together. Josh Heupel is calling incredible plays. I love Tennessee. Love Tennessee. Number 4 team in the country, Alabama. I dropped them from 2. I had them at 2 last week. I dropped them. They did struggle against USF. However, they pulled away late. Ended up winning by 26. I'm not worried about Alabama. I'm not worried about them at all. But I am going to drop them because the teams in front of them performed better. Ohio State. Yeah. I mean, yes, Jeremiah Smith, he very well could be the best wide receiver in the country and is a true freshman. No doubt in my mind about that. Right in front of them, the Texas Longhorns. Yeah, I mean, when you go in to the big house, 23 game win streak for Michigan at home, and they get just ran off the football field about 3 minutes into the game, I'm going to bump Texas up to number two. I'm going to bump them up to number two. And that's what I did here. And Georgia, yes, correct. You are still number one. You will probably be number one when you go play Texas later on this year. You go to Kentucky this weekend. Kentucky got the brakes blown off of them by South Carolina, of all teams. So, no doubt in my mind, Georgia, Texas, Ohio State, Alabama, Tennessee, those are your five best teams in the country. That's the what if poll. Again, what if what we saw in week two, what if what we saw yesterday is what these teams actually are? And if that's true, these are your top five teams in the country, and there's only about 13 teams ranked. Okay. That's how it should be, and that's how it is. Moving right along. Gonna take a sip before we get into the muffins. And there's only one this week. Okay, we'll keep it short and sweet. I could only really go one way with this certified stud muffin this week, and I'll get his picture shown up there. It's a little blurry, maybe. My bad. It's Steve Sarkisian. Okay, this is a historic moment for the show, though. I've only ever done certified stud muffins as players. As players, this is the first coach that gets the certified stud muffin award. Steve Sarkisian, he deserves it because he put on an absolute masterclass against Michigan yesterday. They were saying, "Hey, Michigan hasn't lost a beat defensively." Steve Sarkisian made them look like they lost the entire instrument. Okay, congrats to Steve Sarkisian. Congrats to Texas. They're incredible. Steve Sarkisian, you get the certified stud muffin stamp. Boom, right there above me. Congrats to you guys. Thank you so much for watching. This was the week two recap. It was fun. We have frauds, Notre Dame, Penn State, basically every other team. We have some real contenders. Those top nine up there, I think those are your nine best football teams, no doubt in my mind. A lot of teams not in the top 25 because they don't deserve to be there. So, and Steve Sarkisian, you get your muffin. We'll ship it to you if you want it. If you don't, too bad because they're delicious. Thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for the week three picks. We are on an absolute roll right now. We're about 35-8 overall this year on picks, 35-10, something like that. We're killing it. 70% rate right now. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you in the week three preview video. I love you guys. Bye.
Whoa, he has